I'm sat here trying to think of a quirky intro, and all I've got in my head, because I'm a big wrestling fan, is just adrenaline in my soul, something Cody Rhodes. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the channel. I'm TheXploder, and I'm a big fan of Cody Rhodes and wrestling in general. Shout out to Cody. Screw John Cena. WrestleMania is going to be fun. Today we return to the world of PP and sharing with them how big my PP is. I mean the deck, we're not talking about that. So let's dive into an updated deck profile of my Emerald Steel PP deck to let you know the changes I've made to make it that little bit more juicy. God, that just sounds so wrong. Let's go. So here we are back with Emerald Steel PP, aka Pirate Pete, the deck, or as I am now going as a pseudonym for it, as a little hint towards Pete himself from the Goofy movie, with his little quote, "Under your thumb."
If you keep them under your thumb, they'll never end up in the gutter.
Because we're still talking lockdown, and we're talking about plays to set tempo, lock down your opponents, make things more expensive or trippy for them to do, and generally screw them over so you can have a more chilled out time. Let's get straight in. First major change we've seen, you'll see no more one-drop Robin Hood. Instead, we are back with one-drop Pete Pirate Scoundrel. He's back, ready to cause some stuff. We're only running 5 actions in the deck, so he may not trigger all the time, but that's not the point. The point is, we can put him out as a threat. He's a fantastic shift target for big Space Pirate Pete later on. And in case you are dealing with a Sapphire player, you can definitely put out this Pete, wait for your Sapphire player to do their quirky tech involving their items, and if they play out, even if it's something like a Porpsicle, a Fortisphere, maybe later on if it's a dime, if they dare use a dime against you, you could just play one of your improvisers or fire the cannons, bop a character, make your characters big, draw a card, and oh, get rid of that item they need. Nice. Still have the 3 copies of Calhoun, she's amazing. Still have the 4 copies of Smee. He's amazing. I don't think I need to go into them too much. Still 4 copies of John Silver because we are running a lot of locations still, so his tech can still be beneficial, as well as 4 copies of Pete Games Referee because we want to shut down, lock down, and make you not use those cheeky actions. Still got the 3 copies of Daisy Duck Pirate Captain. Playing with her more and more has made me realise that she triggers a lot of the time, so she's incredibly consistent at 3, as well as being able to quest for 2 herself, making her a very formidable pirate. Gantu's still at 3 as well for lockdown plays on singing, as well as making your opponents pay more for all of their basic stuff. And one of the other major changes I made was that we got rid of the 5-drop Robin Hood, and instead I put in 2 copies of the 5-cost Beast Tragic Hero. Let's go over it in case you haven't seen it or if it's been a while for you. It's a 5-cost 3/5 for 2, is shift free, but we don't run any lower cost beasts because we're not too worried about that. And his effect is, at the start of your turn, if this character has no damage, you draw a card. So it can help us with our draw engine later on in the game where we may be struggling with cards in our hand. And on top of that, otherwise, he gets +4 attack this turn if he does have damage on him, making him a huge threat on the board for anyone to deal with, can basically annihilate anything in one hit, and even then, you can buff him into a 4/5 with Improvise, you can buff him into a 4/6 with the Cove. It's a fantastic card. As I said, it's that little bit of quirky deck, this level of the curve, just to help out with your card draw game, and it's also a threat for Quest for 2, which is always nice. Still running 3 copies of the Gantu Captain Cranky Head to Quest for 4 and to really shock your opponents, and we're still running with 4 copies of the big Pirate Space Pirate Pete, because quite frankly, when we're running with PP, you gotta run with the biggest PP on the block. For actions, we're still running 5, and we're still running 3 copies of Improvise and 2 copies of Fire the Cannons. Simple, easy actions. One helps you draw cards and make your boys bigger to smash into things. The other one smashes into things so you don't have to. Songs, we have increased our songs to 9, and now we have 3 copies of Heffalumps and Woozles. More lockdown, more shutdown, less questing for your opponent, more card draw for you. We are still running 4 copies of Let the Storm Rage On. It's a beautiful card. It works every single time for the most part, and if push come to shove, you at least get a card draw out of it. You can sing it. Fantastic. And the brand new one that I hinted at my last PP video, we now have 2 copies of And Then Along Came Zeus. The card is too good to not put into a steel deck. And quite frankly, like I said in my previous deck, it would have been handy if I had this in the deck. At 1 copy, it would have been okay, but I feel as if I would have needed it more so than just that odd 1 time. So having 2 copies of Along Came Zeus is extremely useful. If I have to raw play it, so be it. But the fact that I can sing it with Gantu, I can sing it with Daisy, I can sing it with Beast, I can sing it with Gantu, Pete if I need to, of course. It's extremely handy, and dealing 5 damage to a pesky character or 5 damage to a big location like, let's say, McDuck Manor, so it comes down low enough that I can bop into it later. Extremely handy. This was a much needed change. And then also our locations haven't really changed either. We've still got 4 copies of Deville Manor, 3 copies of Hidden Cove, 3 copies of Dwarf Mine, and 3 copies of Galactic Council Chamber. All of this together has just improved the deck immensely. And you may think, oh, but you're running less characters, more actions. Doesn't that hinder you in any way? Luckily it doesn't. It does mean we are running a full contingent of uninkables. I wouldn't increase the uninkables anymore, and it flows, and I think it ebb and flows a lot better than the previous version, especially now that I've got a better Pete target for shifting early on. I've still got Calhoun, still got Smee, we've still got John Silver location tech. The deck in this version is probably the best I'm going to be able to push it, at least at this stage. It's a beautiful deck, still quite pricey because of the pricey cards we are putting in there, especially Beast Tragic Hero, which is quite expensive in his own right. Not as expensive as Robin Hood, but still quite pricey. So if you are looking at a budget version of the deck, probably change out those for some more viable options for you. Again, you can build around more locations for the fact that you just proc John Silver more if you want to go that way. But I really love this deck as it is. I feel it's probably the best I could take it at this moment in time, and it hasn't failed me yet. So happy days. So this video isn't as long, and it's mostly because I've gone over most of the deck tech in my previous PP video, which you can check on a little thing up here if you're so interested to see the evolution of PP, because it's not how it starts, I need to stop making these references. These are really on the nose. But you get what I mean. The deck is fun, and I feel like I've made Pirate Pete the best I possibly can. But is there anything that I'm missing? Is there anything I'm glaring over? Would you make any changes? But quite frankly, my little icky brain cannot simply requirely see. Let me know your thoughts over in the comments, or hit me up on my socials as to how you would build this deck, improve the deck, change the deck, anything about the deck. We're talking about a deck, not my actual PP. So let me know your thoughts and we can have a chat from there. Maybe even do a follow-up video if you guys have made your own versions of PP, and maybe we can share them. How about that? On top of all that, while you're down there in the description and around that local area, you can subscribe, you can like, you can share this with your other Lorcana buddies, so we can all join in on the fun times together. But until next time, ladies and gentlemen, have a good one, and I'll be seeing you on the next video. Until then, stay safe, stay awesome, but most importantly, stay explosive. And I'll be seeing you guys next time. I really need to work on these hand gestures. I don't know what it is, but at least I'm not doing a hand gesture that's insinuating. No! Talking about decks. It's not my actual PP. Don't judge me in the comments.